According to a survey from Microsoft, our attention spans are less than that of a goldfish.
The 1990s and early 2000s were an awesome era. The Razr was the most popular phone, artists like Tupac and Nirvana were topping the music charts, the Game Boy had just come out, but most importantly, people were happy. Life was simple. Fast forward to today and things are far from simple. Anxiety and depression are running rampant, people are feeling more disconnected from each other than ever before, and people are struggling. We feel like our lives are meaningless. 2 decades ago, things were much better. So what went wrong? I think it has to do with our attention spans. Over the last 2 decades, the average human attention span has decreased significantly. In 2000, it was 12 seconds, but by 2020, it had dropped to 8 seconds, lower than that of a goldfish, which is 9 seconds. If this trend continues at its current pace, which I actually think it's speeding up thanks to TikTok, our attention span by 2040 will be 5.3 seconds. It's clear that our attention spans are dropping, but what does that have to do with what we're experiencing today? I think for that answer, we have to take a closer look at what is ruining our attention spans. In the 1970s, economist Herbert Simon coined the term the attention economy, ushering in a new way of doing business. He recognized that in the modern world, people are overwhelmed with information and stimuli, making attention a scarce commodity. Companies that figured out how to capture our attention could then sell it to other companies in the form of advertisements. Now that we understand the attention economy, we can go back to the 2000s. In 2004, a 19-year-old Mark Zuckerberg creates Facebook and it's an immediate hit.
When we first launched, we were hoping for, maybe 400, 500 people, and now we're at 100,000 people.
It does really well because it was designed to be addicting. It tapped into our psychological desires to feel social and validated.
I think that the goal that we went into it with wasn't to make an online community, but sort of like a mirror for the real community that existed in real life.
In 2005, 1 year after Facebook's launched, it has 5 million users and the company is valued at a whopping $100 million. This set a very clear signal to businesses. If you wanted to succeed in the attention economy, it was not enough for people to like your product. They had to be addicted to it. This is Nir. He wrote the book Hooked on this very thing.
That when we design products to be engaging, some products with some people are overused and can become distracting.
In his book, he says, forming habits is imperative for the survival of many products. As infinite distractions compete for our attention, companies are learning to master novel tactics to stay relevant in users' minds. Instead of relying on expensive marketing, habit-forming companies link their services to the user's daily routines and emotions. A habit is at work when the user feels a tad bored and instantly opens Twitter. They feel a pang of loneliness, and before rational thought occurs, they are scrolling through their Facebook feeds. A question comes to mind, and before searching their brains, they query Google. The first to mind solution wins. Hey, real quick, I'm only human. I also enjoy social validation as much as I don't like to admit it. I'm close to 100 subs. I would appreciate it if you could toss me one so we can get there. Thanks. Now this is where we messed up. Companies hired the best psychologists and designers in the world to get us hooked on their products, and we fell for it. These habit-forming companies got us addicted by making their platforms a dopamine dealer that we had 24/7 access to. This rewired our brains to where the level of dopamine and stimulation that we were getting from their platforms and devices started to become our expectations of what life should be like. What's worse is that the bar kept getting higher and higher. It started off with text, and then we moved to images, and then video, and now we're at short form video. I don't know what's next, but I don't like the trend this is going in. And this is how it relates to what we're experiencing today. They conditioned our brains to desire such high levels of stimulation that real life cannot produce. It's easy to see why people feel like their lives are meaningless. Because of our crippled attention spans, it feels like all that we can do outside of work and school is consume content. And when you spend all your free time consuming content, you don't have any time to live your own life. Life feels much easier if we stay on our devices, but it's turning us into brainless NPCs. For those of you who are not a gamer, that means a non-playable character. We're becoming passive characters in our own lives. We're constantly on our phones, scrolling through social media, watching TV, and rarely taking the time to think about our own lives. I really hate this reality, but it feels like we've replaced thinking with consuming content. Anytime there would be a chance for us to have a thought. Instead, we're on some type of device or screen consuming content. Our everyday lives can't compete with the level of stimulation or dopamine that we can get from our digital worlds, and it's making us depressed. There's no other way to put it. Our short attention spans are ruining our lives. When I first thought about this video, I was going to end it with a gentle reminder to be mindful of your consumption. But I don't think that's enough. The reality is that huge companies with practically unlimited budgets and the smartest psychologists and designers in the world are coming for your attention. They're trying to steal every single second of it. Don't let them have it. I know it's probably impossible to cut devices out of our lives, so instead, actively defend your attention and try to repair it. Take advantage of your phone's Do Not Disturb feature. Develop hobbies where you literally can't look at your phone. Do all of this and your quality of life will improve, because regular life will be stimulating again, it'll make you happier, and it won't be as depressing. I know that none of this will be easy, but whenever it gets hard, just ask yourself, do you want an easy life or do you want a good one?